and my phone rang. I was a little frustrated because I thought, y'all sit down. I was in an important meeting. I said, all right, well, this better be important. She said, I got the White House on the other phone. It's important. Lady came on and said, Governor, would you stand by to talk to the President of the United States? I said, yes, ma'am, I'll be glad to. He got on. He said, Phil, I'm in the Oval Office. I'm sitting here with Mike Pence and Ivanka. I said, hi, y'all. He said, I want to know something. Are we okay in Mississippi? I said, Mr. President, we're going to win it all. We're going to win it all down here. Because I don't know about y'all, but I ain't tired of winning yet. I'm not near tired of winning yet. So we're going to win the governor's office, the lieutenant governors, all those statewide. We're going to go down to the courthouses, win some there. We're going to shake them up. Because the President of the United States came into Tupelo, Mississippi, and I'm telling you, Elvis was back in the building. Woo, it was rocking and rolling. When he got up there and bragged about how much he loved Mississippi. What the economy's doing here. I want to tell you, since October, we've announced over 4,000 jobs in the state of Mississippi since the 1st of October. Over $1 billion, about a $1.5 billion private corporate investment. Now this guy, this trial lawyer for the Democrats running for governor, he hates those big old corporations. I guess he doesn't like Ingalls or Chevron. Probably doesn't care for any of those that we've helped grow and expand. Probably doesn't care for Amazon. Let me tell you what, they're going to add nearly 1,000 jobs in Mississippi. You know, I've always said my first job is to make sure that every Mississippian that wants a job has one. I've amended that now. I want them to have a job even if they don't want one. With Tate Reeves' help, Philip Gunn and the legislature, we've helped private sector create over 80,000 jobs. Unemployment hit all-time record lows in Mississippi. Income went up. We're graduating more high school students than ever before, higher than the national average. Our fourth graders led the nation, #1 in the nation reading and math. Yet that trial lawyer that's running the governor whines and moans and complains about we haven't put enough money in education. Look, there's always more we can do, but we put more money in education than any time in Mississippi's history. We gave the teachers pay raise. Oh, you hear about teachers pay raise? Oh, they whine and moan and complain. You just don't love teachers enough. I love teachers. That's why we're working with Tate Reeves. We gave them a $170 million pay raise in the last 8 years. That's just not 1 year. I see the legislature here. That's just not like 1 year. That's and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So they just make stuff up. Of course, the media never calls them out. Now, they'll be fact-checking whatever I say today. You know, that blog that's run by a bunch of rich Democrats, you know, they'll say, oh, the governor said created 80,000 jobs, only 79,816. Because they're the backup choir for Jim Hood. He gives them the music every morning, and they just sing to it. Well, let me tell you what, it's going to be a slow, sad song come Wednesday morning. Because I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of them propping him up. Not all of them. There's good media out there. They're called reporters. But I'm tired of the other ones. Tired of the folks on blog that criticize what this lieutenant governor, what this legislature's done. They've done remarkable things. Remarkable things. Look at your state seal. Yeah, we changed that. It's a national motto on there now. It says, proudly, without hesitation, in God we trust. That was a Senate bill. We passed that out of the Mississippi Senate. Now, I've been lieutenant governor. This guy running on the Democratic ticket, you know, he says, I'm going to drain the swamp. How funny is that? Wonder where he stole that from. Boy, he just made that up out of thin air, didn't he? Wow, what a brilliant idea, especially since you've been in Jackson for the last 16 years. Been digging that swamp, flooding it on your own. Tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's a time for choosing in Mississippi. president has chose. The vice president's right backstage. I love Mike Pence. I love Mike Pence. Mike and Karen have been friends of ours since the first time Deborah walked up to Karen at the First Ladies' Luncheon. Now, ladies, y'all know that might be a little uncomfortable. Karen comes in, doesn't know anybody. Deborah walks up and says, "Darling, won't you come sit with me? Have lunch." Sounds just like the First Lady, doesn't it? Well, I can tell you, her and Karen's been dear friends ever since. There's not a better man on this planet, not a more dedicated vice president and servant than Mike Pence, and he's here today. But before we get to that, our senior member of our House of Representatives is here. This man's been a Marine. He serves in the Mississippi National Guard. I served with him when I was lieutenant governor. He was in the House of Representatives. The list of things that he has accomplished is long, and I'm so very proud of him because when he ran, y'all remember that other guy was in Congress, they said, "Oh, bless his heart. He just can't beat that guy. You know, he never wears any socks, and everybody on the coast loves him." That was about most of his qualifications at that time. But Stephen Palazzo said, "I'm going to take him on because there's time for a Republican to hold that district again." Ladies and gentlemen, your congressman, my friend, Stephen Palazzo. Thank you.
We have tons of veterans, active guard and reserve installations, and a billion-dollar defense industry. Every day, tens of thousands of Mississippians wake up with one purpose: protect and defend America against all of her enemies. Mr. Vice President, we know you are no stranger to service and sacrifice. You're one of the very few national leaders who actually has skin in the game. So with Veterans Day right around the corner, it is only fitting that we take a moment to recognize and thank our veterans and any service member currently serving and their families. If present, please rise. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are the greatest nation on earth because of our men and women in uniform, and we owe them everything. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Folks, when I first arrived in Congress and met my friend, Congressman Mike Pence, I immediately knew this was a man whose star has yet to rise to its fullest potential. After getting to know him, I immediately recognized he had the same principles that we share as Mississippians. He loves his faith, he loves his family, and he loves his freedoms, the same things we share as Mississippians. Vice President Pence, thank you for being here today and taking time out of your busy schedule. Mississippi has come so very far in the past 8 years under the great leadership of Governor Bryant and Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves. We cannot afford to go backwards. Under Governor Tate Reeves, working with the President and Vice President Pence, not only will we keep America great, but we will make Mississippi even greater. Friends, Tate Reeves has stood up for South Mississippi. He has stood up for the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's time that we stand up for him. I'm thrilled to be here today to support Tate Reeves to be our next governor and showing our unwavering support for President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Let's keep America and Mississippi great. Vote Tate Reeves and vote Republican tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let's welcome another great friend of the Mississippi Gulf Coast, our very own Senator, Senator Hyde Smith.
What a great guy. Does he represent us well or what? George, it is great to be here on the Gulf Coast. I see Greg Harper. I see so many great friends out here. And, you know, my heart just bleeds for this Gulf Coast. One of the best things that has happened to me today, we have got a great speaker back here. We have got a great agenda plan. We've got a special guest. We just went to Gulfport, Mississippi, and went in a cafe over there, the Palace Grill. The Vice President of the United States went in there and shook everybody's hand because they just happened to be eating lunch in Gulfport, Mississippi today. That is real, folks. Tomorrow, we have a great opportunity here in Mississippi. We have the opportunity to send a message to the rest of the nation that the Democratic Socialist agenda, it may be alive and well in the hearts of those like Nancy Pelosi, but it is dead in Mississippi. We have a better plan, I assure you. We had a great night Friday night in Tupelo with the president. You know, we let him know we don't want open borders, that anybody can just walk through. And I'll tell you what, killing an unborn baby, that is not a human right. That is a human life, folks. That is what we're about today. We've got some great people running for office. We've got a Lieutenant Governor, Tate Reeves, that will make a great governor. We've got some statewide. I know that they've already been introduced, but I'm going to call them out again. We have an A team. We have an A-plus team, folks. We have an A-plus team. On a scale of 1 to 10, our statewide are a 45, and here they are right here. David McRae, stand up. Andy Gibson, stand up. Michael Watson, Shad White, Lynn Fitch, Delbert Hoseman. Let's give them a round of applause right now. Folks, we have a plan. We have a great team. We're going to elect Tate Reeves tomorrow as our governor. We've got a team that is going to help him. Governor Tate Reeves will be named tomorrow. I feel confident in that. But you know what? To make it happen, we got to go out and vote. We have to get up. We have to turn out the people to the polls tomorrow. You and I know that. We can change this state. We can change this nation. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored to be serving as your U.S. Senator. And I've got a friend in the U.S. Senate. When I got there, Senator Roger Wicker, you talk about take me under his wing. He has been so kind. He and I are working together with the president to truly get that agenda out there to make America great again. I want to introduce to you U.S. Senator Roger Wicker. Thank you, guys. Have a great time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mississippi. And let me just say, in a minute, it will be my great honor to introduce the next governor of the state of Mississippi. But first of all, let me say how great it is for Gail and me, and there's Gail right there on the second row of our state chairman. We love to get back to the Gulf Coast. We were at the Peter Anderson Festival yesterday with 1.5 million of our closest friends. We got on a boat and went out in the bay and the sound last night. It is terrific to be here, but let me tell you something else that's terrific. It's good to be on a team with people like Phil Bryant and Stephen Palazzo and Cindy Hyde-Smith. And Cindy, I don't know, you ran out of the building. I'm going to come back here next year. We're going to do the same thing for Cindy next year. I want her reelected. She's a good teammate. But you know who else likes to come to Mississippi? That's Mike Pence. I'm going to venture to say that of all the states visited by the Vice President of the United States during his 2 and some years in office, Mississippi has been number 1. Now, there's a reason for that. And thank you, Congressman Palazzo, for mentioning our veterans, but Vice President Pence has got a fine veteran, a Navy officer trained at Meridian Naval Air Station, and he'll never forget Mississippi. We know about that. Well, look, I want to be part of a team. I want to be a part of a team like this one here that's gotten stuff done. Here's what we've done. We've cut taxes. We've ended Obama-era regulations and the economy. Did you see the stock market again today? Another record today. We've helped President Trump and Vice President Pence create more jobs than ever before. We repealed the Obamacare individual mandate. We're drilling in AMWAR. And we've confirmed conservative judges like you've never seen before, and we're building up the military. And I'm so glad that President Donald J. Trump signed my SHIPS Act, making 355 ships the size of the Navy as it ought to be, and we're building our share right here on the Gulf Coast. This is a terrific administration. We're part of the team. These folks here are part of the team, and we need our next governor to continue being part of that team. Ladies and gentlemen, this race tomorrow is not complicated. We have an attorney general who voted for Obama. We have an attorney general who voted for Hillary Clinton. A week into office of President Trump, our attorney general, the candidate for governor on the Democratic ticket, sued the Trump administration. And just about 10 days ago, he sued the Trump administration again on some ridiculous stunt that didn't mean a thing. He likes to sue the Trump administration, but never in 8 years did our Attorney General sue the Obama administration. We know what team the Democratic nominee is on, and we know that Tate Reeves, our next governor, is going to be on the team with Trump and Pence and the Republican leadership. But there's another reason, and I'm going to bring you on stage in just a minute. Tate Reeves will be a strong, excellent governor in his own right. He's been a strong lieutenant governor. He was a strong treasurer. Tate Reeves knows the importance of the taxpayer dollar, and he proved it as state treasurer and as lieutenant governor, and he's going to prove it as governor. Not only that, he's a former businessman. He's a wonderful family man. And Gail and I want to wish Ely the best. And I tell you what, Ely, if you can hear me somewhere, we're going to give you Wednesday off, and then we know you're going to be a terrific First Lady. But right now, it is my distinct honor and high privilege to introduce to you to a rounding Mississippi round of applause, Tate Reeves, the next governor of the state of Mississippi.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator, and thanks to all of you for being here today on election eve. I got to tell you, it feels like home every time I get within 20 miles of I-10. And I will tell you, it's not just the salt water, it's you, the people of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I saw the Vice President in Washington a few weeks ago, and he told me that he would like to come to Mississippi to help on our campaign. He asked me, where should he come? And I said, Mr. Vice President, if you can only come to one place, that place is without question the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, is anybody in this room excited that the Vice President came to the Mississippi Gulf Coast? Now, I got to tell y'all, if it was a little bit later in the day, we might have done that with a toast. Is anybody in this room proud of Vice President Mike Pence? And is anybody in this room proud of President Donald J. Trump? I know I'm proud to be on their team, and I'm proud to be on Governor Bryant's team, and I'm proud to be on our United States Senators team, and I'm proud to be on a Congressman's team, and I am proud of the work that is being done by this president, by this vice president in Washington, D.C., and I am proud that they are making America great again. Mr. Vice President, you have cut taxes in Washington, and I have cut taxes in Mississippi. Mr. Vice President, you have cut regulations in Washington, and I have cut regulations in Mississippi. And lo and behold, our economy is booming. You know, that doesn't just happen. It's not happenstance that we have the best economic numbers in the history of Mississippi. It's not just happenstance that we're in the best financial shape than at any time in our state's history. It's not just happenstance that we're in the best fiscal shape at any time in our state's history. It's not just happenstance that more people are working today in Mississippi than any time in our state's history. No, ma'am. No, sir. It's not just happenstance. It's because conservative policies work. Conservative policies work for our country, and they work for our state, and they work for the hard-working families all across Mississippi that are benefiting from the largest tax cut in Mississippi history. They work for the job creators that are benefiting from the largest tax cut in Mississippi history, and they work for all of our citizens. Now, I will tell you, I have a lot of people to thank today, but frankly, we've got way too many friends down here that if I started thanking people, I wouldn't be able to stop. But I do want to say that I'm proud that every mayor on this Gulf Coast is on our team. I am proud that the sheriffs are on our team. And I am proud that in the primary and in the runoff, we got over 2/3 of the vote on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I know tomorrow's going to be even bigger. But since we are on the topic of thanking people, I do think it's pretty important that I thank the most important person in this room and the lady that's going to make a great First Lady of the state of Mississippi. Ely, thank you for everything. And I probably, at this point, should thank Tyler and Emma and Maddie for at least not yet making a scene today. Now, they say that our campaign is stronger on the Gulf Coast than any campaign in Mississippi history, and I believe it. I had someone ask me the other day how we built such a strong organization on the Gulf Coast. And I said there's really only one way to do it, and that is to spend every single day in office working hard for the people of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's about understanding that what's good for the Gulf Coast economy is good for Mississippi's economy. It's about having a leader that understands how important that what goes on in the Gulf of Mexico, our fishing industry, our seafood industry, understanding that how important that is not only to you, but how important it is to all of us in Mississippi. Now, I have worked hard for the coast on Katrina, on BP, and I will always work hard for the coast. But I am told that there's another fella on the ballot tomorrow. You may have heard of him. He's taking a very different approach to the BP oil spill settlement than I did. You see, I had meetings in Hancock County, in Harrison County, and in Jackson County. I met with the people of this Gulf Coast and said, what do you think we ought to do with the BP money? I did it in the morning, I did it in the afternoon, and I did it at night. We met with people all across this Gulf Coast. And while I was fighting to get 100% of the money on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, my opponent, Jim Hood, was trying to funnel millions of dollars of your money to the very trial lawyers that fund his campaign. My friends, that ain't right. That ain't right. In fact, we had to work with Governor Bryant and pass a law to slow him down. Now, why did he do that? Because they gave him money for his campaign so that he could spend millions and millions and millions of dollars in this campaign attacking me and attacking our conservative values. But just like the national liberals in Washington are disrespecting our president by trying to impeach him, he and the national liberals are not only disrespecting our president, they are disrespecting us. And tomorrow we're going to send a message to those national liberals in California. We're going to send a message to those national liberals in Washington and in New York City, and we're going to simply say this: not in our state. But I got to tell you, tomorrow is going to be about turnout. It's about how many people can we get that are like-minded conservatives like you and me. How many can we get to the polls? I had a wise man tell me not long ago, from the Mississippi Gulf Coast no less. He said, Tate, don't ever forget, on election night, they're not going to count how much money you got. On election night, they're not going to count how many friends you got. On election night, on tomorrow, they're going to count how many votes we get. I need you to leave here today motivated, understanding that big turnouts favor conservatives, big turnouts favor Republicans. And because of the people in this room, I know you're going to not only go and vote tomorrow, but you're going to go home tonight and you're going to knock on the door of your next door neighbor. You're going to pick up your phone and you're going to call your buddy down the street. You may even know that there's a little lady 3 or 4 houses down that would love to vote if she could just get to the polls. My ask of you is to get her to the polls. You may even have a fishing buddy that goes sometimes but doesn't go all the time. Make sure your buddy's at the polls tomorrow, because conservative policies matter. And I believe in my heart that tomorrow the Mississippi Gulf Coast is going to turn out in huge numbers. Y'all ever heard that word before? Huge? I believe you're going to turn out in huge numbers. And honestly, I believe we're going to see a turnout in huge numbers all across our state. All across our state, because we don't want the liberal Democrats that are attacking our president to be leading our country. And that is exactly what will happen if Jim Hood is elected governor of the state of Mississippi. So, without further ado, I want to invite someone to this stage that needs no introduction. He needs no introduction because he's been a member of the United States Congress. He understands what the stakes are tomorrow because he's been a governor of the state of Indiana. He is a man, as you have heard today, that truly loves Mississippi because his son, who serves in the United States Navy, spent a little time in Mississippi, up in Meridian. And for the last 3 years, this man and his beautiful wife, Karen, have spent a lot of time in this state. And when I ran into him in Washington a few weeks ago, he said, I love Mississippi, and I want to do anything I can to help you get elected. And so please join me in giving a Mississippi Gulf Coast welcome to the Vice President of the United States of America, Mike Pence.
There she stood in the street, smiling from her head to her feet. I said, hey, what is this? Now, baby, maybe she's in need of a kiss. I said, hey, what's your name, baby? Maybe we can see things the same. Now, don't you wait, oh, hesitate.
Well, hello, Mississippi. Thank you for that warm welcome. Governor Bryant, Senator Wicker, Senator Hyde-Smith, members of Congress and the state legislature, candidates for office, fellow Republicans, all the Mississippians who are gathered here today. It is great to be in the Magnolia State. It is great to be back on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. What a beautiful place. But I have to tell you, I'm here for one reason and one reason only, and that is that Mississippi and America need Tate Reeves to be the next governor of the great state of Mississippi. I mean, Tate Reeves, you all know. Tate Reeves is Mississippi. He's a strong conservative. He lives what he believes. He's all about faith and family and freedom. And speaking of family, would you all join me in giving one more round of applause for the next first family of the state of Mississippi, Tate's wife, Ely Reeves, Tyler, Emma, and Maddie. Would you stand up and take a bow? Come on, what a great family. Thank you, Ely. You know, it really is great to be here with all of you, and great to be here with so many friends of mine, friends of many years, like two strong conservatives who Mississippi should be proud of every day. I'm here to tell you they have stood with this president as we've rebuilt our military, as we've transformed our federal courts with over 150 conservatives. Join me in thanking Senator Roger Wicker and Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith for their great leadership in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. And Tate mentioned that I served in the House of Representatives for 12 years. It seemed longer. But I'll tell you what, you leave there, you have such great respect for people that you serve with. And I want to thank Congressman Steve Palazzo for your great service of Mississippi. Steve, thank you. Thanks for your support. Also, I want to thank former Congressman Greg Harper, who's here with us today. Great to see you, Greg. All the other state officials who are here. And I got to be honest with you, before I get started, I have to say it's a special privilege for me to be here. At the end of the tenure of, frankly, one of the most consequential public servants in the history of the state of Mississippi. He served this state as your auditor, as your lieutenant governor. During his tenure as governor, this state has seen the lowest unemployment rate in its history, the highest high school graduation rates. There's more Mississippians working today than ever before. Would you all mind getting on your feet and just join me in thanking Governor Phil Bryant for a lifetime of service to the people of Mississippi. You know, under Governor Bryant's leadership, Mississippi is booming. That's why we need to keep Mississippi growing strong. We need Tate Reeves to be the next great governor of the state of Mississippi. And I got to tell you, talking about friends of mine, allow me to bring greetings from one more friend of mine. I got to tell you, when I told him last night that I was headed to Mississippi, I think he sounded just a little bit jealous. He was here just a couple of days ago. They rocked the house up in the north part of the state, but I know his heart is here, so allow me to bring greetings from a man who loves the state of Mississippi, has been fighting to keep the promises that he made to the people of this great state. I bring greetings from the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. Thank you for that. Isn't he something? I mean, it's amazing. In just 3 short years, thanks to President Trump's leadership, the confidence the people of Mississippi placed in our president, we've rebuilt our military. The American economy is booming. We've cut illegal immigration on our southern border in half, and last weekend, thanks to the courage of our armed forces, the decisive leadership of our Commander-in-Chief, a week ago, Saturday night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, is dead, and the world is safer, and America is safer. Incredible. Truth is, under this president and the leadership that you've enjoyed here in Mississippi, jobs are back. Confidence is back. In a word, America is back. But we're just getting started, Mississippi. That's why we need Tate Reeves to be the next governor of the state of Mississippi. And once you all deliver for the great state of Mississippi, in Election Day tomorrow, 1 year from now, I know we're going to be able to count on Mississippi. November of 2020, when we vote to give President Donald Trump 4 more years in the White House. But thank you. Thank you for that. And thanks for jumping the gun on that. I really, we both appreciate it. But I'm here to talk about the candidate that we have on the ballot tomorrow. Man, have you got a great candidate. I'm here to talk about this incredible candidate, the progress that we've made in Mississippi and across the country, and about the choice the people of Mississippi face tomorrow. First, let's start with your candidate. Tate Reeves is going to be a great governor because he's got Mississippi running in his veins. He was born and raised here in the Magnolia State, lived here his whole life, public school, learned the value of hard work, working in a family-owned business. Went off to college, studied finance, came back, worked as an investment advisor, but in 2003, he followed a calling into public life, decided to give back to the state that had given so much to him and to his family. He ran for state treasurer at the age of 29. Became the first Republican and the youngest candidate in Mississippi history to win. Incredible. And as you all know, he never stopped fighting for a stronger, more prosperous Mississippi ever since. 4 years after that, Tate was reelected treasurer by the highest percentage of any candidate running for statewide office that year. 4 years after that, you elected him as your lieutenant governor and reelected him to serve another term. As your lieutenant governor, Tate has fought for policies that put working families first. He proposed the largest tax cut in state history. He partnered with this governor of yours, and they led the charge to balance Mississippi's budget. They fought for education reforms, creating more choices and more opportunities for Mississippi families. The good people of the Magnolia State keep electing Tate Reeves to public office because he's always fought for them. He's never forgotten where he came from, and he's never stopped fighting for you. That's why when Mississippi heads to the polls tomorrow, we need you to vote. We need you to vote to keep this conservative leader in Jackson. We need you to get out and vote to make Tate Reeves the next great governor of Mississippi. And while you're at it, why don't you make sure your new governor has a great team around him by electing Delbert Hosemann as your lieutenant governor, Lynn Fitch as your attorney general, Michael Watson is your Secretary of State, David McCray is your state treasurer. This whole great Republican team, stand up and take a bow. This is an incredible group of leaders. And when you elect Tate Reeves, your next governor, and send this whole Republican team to Jackson, we're going to deliver a great Republican victory all across the state of Mississippi. And as I said, they'll be happy to know. You do that tomorrow, we're going to set the stage to give President Donald Trump 4 more years in the White House. We're going to do it. You know, I think you look back on the last 3 years, I think there's only one way you can describe the last 3 years under this president's leadership. Thanks to the confidence of the people of Mississippi. I think it's been 3 years of results. It's been 3 years of action. It's been 3 years of promises made and promises kept. And we're just getting started, Mississippi. I mean, think about it. Think about it. President Trump promised to cut taxes, roll back regulation, unleash American energy, and fight for free and fair trade. And with the strong support of Mississippi Republicans, President Donald Trump delivered. And today, the American economy is booming. Since Election Day 2016, businesses large and small across this country have created 6.7 million new jobs, including 22,000 jobs right here in the state of Mississippi. The unemployment rate has hit a 50-year low, and the unemployment rate for African Americans and Hispanic Americans is the lowest level ever recorded in history. The American dream is working again for every American. And since President Trump was elected, I'm proud to report the average American household has seen your disposable income go up by more than $5,000 a year, and wages are rising. Wages are rising all across this country at the fastest pace that they've risen in more than a decade. And you know, I think most meaningful to President Trump and me is that wages are rising most rapidly for hard-working, blue-collar Americans. The forgotten men and women of America are forgotten no more. But it hasn't just been about the economy. President Trump also promised to rebuild our military and restore the arsenal of democracy. And with the strong support of Mississippi's Republicans in Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump delivered. You know, Tate just mentioned, I'm the proud father of a United States Marine who spent a lot of great years up at Naval Air Station Meridian here in Mississippi. And I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who cares so deeply about the men and women of our armed forces and their families. I mean, thanks to President Trump's leadership and our strong allies in the Congress, this president's already signed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We've rebuilt our military. And with that renewed American strength, we're standing with our allies and standing up to our enemies. Today, our NATO allies are contributing more than ever before to our common defense. And as the world watched a week ago, we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. But it hasn't been just about those who serve in uniform today. This president also promised to give our veterans access to the benefits and the real-time, world-class health care that you earned in the uniform of the United States, and President Donald Trump delivered. We've reformed the VA we fired more than 7,000 people that weren't giving our veterans the care that they need and deserve, and Veterans Choice is now available to every veteran in America. Working with the great Republican team here in Mississippi, it's also been about our security here at home. President Donald Trump has taken decisive action to secure our southern border and end the crisis of illegal immigration there. We've made historic investments. We've made historic investments in border security. And thanks to the courageous men and women of DHS and ICE and Border Patrol, I'm proud to report in the last 4 months, apprehensions on our southern border are down by more than 70%, and we've already started to build that wall on the southern border of the United States. And as I mentioned, with the strong support of both of your conservative senators, President Trump has appointed more than 150 men and women to our federal courts. And they're all people who will uphold all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And that doesn't even include Justice Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Would you all join me in thanking Senator Roger Wicker and Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith for standing strong for our constitutional liberties and standing with this president and our nominees from the Supreme Court on down. Take another bow, will you? And they've been great. So we're standing for the rule of law. We're standing for our constitutional liberties. And I have to tell you, I couldn't be more proud to stand with your candidate for governor and to serve with a president who stand without apology for the sanctity of human life. Thank you, Tate. You know, at a time when leaders in the Democratic Party advocate late-term abortion and defend infanticide, I promise you, with President Donald Trump in the White House and Tate Reeves in the governor's office, this state, this party, and this movement will always stand for the unalienable right to life. It matters. Thank you. In just 3 years, America and Mississippi are winning again. I mean, the truth is, under President Donald Trump and under Governor Phil Bryant, we've made Mississippi and America great again. But to keep America great, we've got work to do, men and women. And that's why I hope you came out today. First we need to elect. We got work to do, and I need you all to be every bit as enthusiastic as him. I don't know what he was saying, but I need your enthusiasm. We got work to do. First, we need to elect Tate Reeves as the next great governor of the state of Mississippi. Job one. And the truth is, the choice couldn't be clearer, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Here in Mississippi, you have a proven conservative, a man of integrity in Tate Reeves, who's been fighting every day for Mississippi jobs, Mississippi families, and Mississippi values. And you sure can't say that about his opponent. Democrat Jim Hood supported Hillary Clinton for president in 2016. And he has opposed President Donald Trump every day since. In fact, when the president came, at your governor's invitation, when the president came to Mississippi to visit your Civil Rights Museum, Jim Hood didn't just boycott the event, he protested it. And Jim Hood wants to raise your taxes. As former Governor Haley Barbour wrote today, Jim Hood has built a national reputation in his public career on two things: jackpot justice lawsuits and tax increases. Haley actually said his job when he was governor was, in his words, made much more difficult because virtually every business leader he talked to had heard of Jim Hood, and they were reluctant to bring jobs to Mississippi. And while Tate Reeves supports your Second Amendment rights, Jim Hood actually went to the UN to criticize Mississippi's law that you have the right to defend your home by any force necessary. And while Tate Reeves has stood strong for the sanctity of life, Jim Hood actually opposed Mississippi's efforts to end public funding for the largest abortion provider in America, and he said Mississippi's law defunding Planned Parenthood was stupid. The truth is, the Democratic Party of Jim Hood is dominated by all that same kind of left-wing thinking. It's dominated by left-wing radicals who want higher taxes, a Green New Deal, Medicare for all, sanctuary cities, and abortion on demand. I mean, Jim Hood's agenda of more taxes and more litigation will cost jobs in Mississippi. Jim Hood doesn't represent the values of Mississippi. So Mississippi needs to say no to Jim Hood and yes to Tate Reeves as your next governor for the state of Mississippi. I mean, you have an opportunity. Mississippi has an opportunity before the polls close on November 5th. If you want to keep Mississippi's economy going strong, vote for Tate Reeves for governor. If you want to stop sanctuary cities and protect our southern border and defend the Second Amendment of the Constitution, vote for Tate Reeves for governor. If you want to defend the unborn and stand for the right to life, vote for Tate Reeves for governor. And if you want to send a message to Washington, D.C., that enough is enough, and that Mississippi is tired of their endless investigations and partisan impeachment, if you want to send a message to the do-nothing Democrats that Mississippi and America support President Donald Trump, vote to make Tate Reeves the next governor of Mississippi. You're welcome. You know, you got a great opportunity before you tomorrow, Mississippi. But it's going to take all of us to do it. And remember, I think it's not going to be enough just to win the next election. We've got to win the next generation. Okay? So I need you to do a couple of things before the polls close tomorrow, if you're taking notes. Number one, vote Mississippi and vote to make Tate Reeves the next governor of this great state. Vote. Okay? In fact, vote for all these great Republican candidates. I checked on my way here. The polls open at 7 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. You got all day. And remember, friends don't let friends vote alone. Bring a friend. Bring a family member. And vote for this whole Republican team. And number three, I need you to go tell the story. There's still time. You know, it's early afternoon. You got all afternoon, you got this evening, you got all day tomorrow. I mean, talk about what Mississippi and America have accomplished with strong conservative leadership at the helm. Talk about what Republican leadership has meant to Mississippi, and the progress this great state has made. And talk about what else we can accomplish with strong Republican leadership in the governor's office and all across your elected officials in Mississippi. I mean, tell your neighbors and your friends that in Washington, D.C. and here in Mississippi, I mean, tell them we cut their taxes so they can keep more of what they earn. Tell them we've rebuilt our military. Tell them we're standing strong for all the God-given liberties that make Mississippi great and make America strong. And tell them we've done it all by standing for freedom. Because remember, we live at a time when the other party actually openly advocates an economic system that has impoverished millions of people around the world and robbed the liberties of generations. That system is called socialism. But all of you here in Mississippi know it was freedom, not socialism, that gave us the most prosperous and powerful nation in the history of the world. It was freedom. It was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and stands today as a beacon of hope for all the world. I believe the moment America becomes a socialist country is the moment that America ceases to be America. So it's up to all of us, starting here in Mississippi tomorrow, to send a message across this state, across this nation, the same message President Trump said in his State of the Union address. America will never be a socialist country. So if you're taking notes, remember, vote with a friend. Tell the story of what we've accomplished with strong Republican leadership at every level here in Mississippi, and how much more can be done with renewed Republican leadership from the governor's office on down. Talk to people about the stakes, the choice we face. You know, I'll always believe that the most powerful media in America is not your network news, it's not your local newspaper, it's not even your social media. I think the most powerful media in the history of America is now and always has been word of mouth. It is, it's true. I mean, I saw it. I remember back in 2016, Phil, you remember it. I mean, I'll never forget, I was on some TV show right before the election. It's on one of these Sunday morning shows. And every single poll had us losing, right? I mean, everywhere. And I was sitting across the table from one of them. And they looked at me, and with a very sympathetic tone, the host of the show looks at me and says, "So what do you think's going to happen?" Because Hillary Clinton was already announcing her cabinet appointments that week. Remember? And I looked across the table at that fellow the president called Sleepy Eyes. I looked at him and I said, "Chuck," I said, "I think we're going to win." And he reared back and he said, "Really? Why?" And I said, "Because I'm traveling all across this country. And everywhere I go, I mean, in the hundreds of people that come out when I show up, or the tens of thousands that come out when he shows up, I see the same look. It's that people across the country were talking to each other. They were saying, you know what, we can be strong again. We can be secure again. We can be prosperous again. We can be great again." And I said, the American people are going to do it. And you did. And we got to do it again. Starting tomorrow here in Mississippi. So I need you to go tell somebody. I mean, tell them about this good man. Tell them about Tate Reeves. Say, you know, I was at the convention center the other day and ran into Mike. And I didn't realize what a big Tate Reeves fan he was. But I am. Because I've had a sense to get to know this man. I've been inspired by his career. I've heard from your great governor about what a great team member he's been in all the success that's happened here in Mississippi. Go out and tell your neighbors and friends, because there's nothing more compelling than when someone who knows you and respects you hears from you about a candidate or a cause or an issue that's important to them and to the community and the state and the nation. So go tell somebody. Make a phone call, send out an email. Do it literally before you lay your head on your pillow tonight. And I might ask you to do one more thing if you're inclined. If from time to time you bow the head and bend the knee, I think now would be a good time to do that too. I mean, I truly do believe and it's one of the things that Tate and I connected on early on. I mean, this is a man who's about family, he's about freedom, he's about conservative principles, but to know this man is to know a man of faith. And in these divided times, in this nation where it seems like there's so much that divides us as a nation, I'll always believe that there's so much more that unites us in these United States than could ever divide us, and chief among that is faith. And so as we come on to Election Day tomorrow, I'd encourage yourself to avail yourself. And on this one, Tate won't mind. I know Ely won't mind. On this one, I'm not so much praying for this great candidate and this family or these great candidates. I just say this is a real good time to just pray for all the people of Mississippi. Pray for all the people of America. Because I know in my heart, it's true today, has been true for millennia, that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll do like he's always done in the long and storied history of this country. He'll hear from heaven, and he'll heal this land, this one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for Mississippi and pray for America. It matters. So thank you all. Thanks for coming out today. I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible before I wing back to Washington, D.C. And I can't wait to tell the President about the enthusiasm that's greeted here today. But I leave here confident that all the great progress that you've made here in Mississippi is going to be affirmed tomorrow. And frankly, if all of us do all that we need to do in every hour between now and when the polls close tomorrow night, with Tate Reeves as your next governor, with President Donald Trump in the White House, with renewed Republican leadership at the state and federal level, and with God's help, we're going to make Mississippi more prosperous than you could possibly imagine. We're going to make Mississippi and America safer than ever before. And we're going to keep America great. Let's go get it done. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. God bless Mississippi. And God bless America.